Hello, everyone. I do believe that we are live. How is everyone doing? Wow, Leo. Okay, Leo came in early with the hello, Jordan. Shalom. Please subscribe to Liberty Politics and Guy's channel. Yeah, so Liberty Politics is where presumably most of you will be watching this because I only have 600 and something subscribers at the moment. And my channel is what Leo is pointing out in the comment. I just said Leo like Armin does. Leo. He's rubbing off on me. Hello, Kevin. Shalom to my Jewish friends, Roman Catholic in the USA. I'm here to learn. Excellent. Thank you for coming, Kevin. Danny is here saying hello. Bobo, as usual, coming in hot with the first super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Bobo. Always reliable. Please live stream the Israeli election. Probably. I mean, it's in 2.5 months, but I believe I will. I don't know how much there will be to do on the day, other than yes, the votes are still people are still voting, and we just got this. Like, there's a lot that happens on election day itself, but we can have discussions about analyses, what I predict is going to happen, so on, because a lot can probably change over the next couple of months. Um, okay, so Lotem is apologizing for. I don't. I mean, I didn't think you were annoying. So what I'm saying, hi, Gassar, I was annoying to you on Friday. I was drunk and emotional. Now I'm just emotional. So on Friday we had a discussion about Ben Gvir. I believe that was the issue there. Um, I mean, it was fine. And I know, like, I have a lot of friends with the perspective that you showed. Um, I didn't mind it particularly. Okay, so how's everyone doing? Dijal, has there been anything in the chat that I need to look at? Because I can already tell I'm not going to be able to look at both. Yes. Okay. Great. And it's not just about things going wrong, but like if anyone says something that is directed at me and not just each other and is more than shalom and so on. Okay. All right. Good. Oh, and Kevin, thank you. Kevin gifted one Liberty Politics membership. So thank you for that, Kevin. All right. So before I start with my stuff, which admittedly there isn't a lot of since Friday, we thought we might be at war right now, but we're not. Um, and so, like, there's some stuff to talk about, but not a whole lot. But if anyone has any questions, both in general and in terms of like, either specifically for this past weekend or recently, or also just general questions about Israel, feel free to bring them up. So I'll give people a couple of seconds. Okay, so the main topic of discussion today. Actually, I'll return to this topic later because there are a bunch of small things to talk about. Um, so apparently, Ben Gvir is trying to aim for the position of Minister of Defense, based on, like, there was a party campaign thing, and when the pictures came out, that had like a sign that said Ben Gvir for security, which is a play on words because the Ministry of Security is what we call the Ministry of Defense. As many of you probably know, I am against this. I do not want this to happen. But nevertheless, that seems to be what he's aiming for. Also, Netanyahu. So one of the major issues that Netanyahu has, that we've mentioned before, is the issue of his support for / extortion by the ultra orthodox, that led him to legislate 2 laws right before the Knesset disbanded, right before the like in the last chance to form laws. One was the hey Yuda. One was the law about arrests, meaning that technically ultra orthodox that don't enlist in the military are supposed to be arrested. Like they're supposed to be arrested for not going into the army right now because there isn't a law that settles their position yet. And the law, the Knesset legislated that they should be that this should be postponed until after the election, so that they won't fear going out and voting. The second had to do with budgets, but this is the main one that got people riled up. Wait, sorry, not budgets. It had to do with it was the basic law that Torah study is a considered a virtue and something that is of a high priority in Israel. And both of those laws got a lot of people on Netanyahu's back and led to Eisenkot leading in Polymarket as the person with the highest chances to become prime minister. And as a result, Netanyahu has leaked something that he said in a closed discussion. Now, this is obviously like it's one of those things that politicians do. It's not just Netanyahu, but you say something in a closed discussion, and then you leak it so that people will know that this is what you really feel, and not just saying for media. And the main purpose you do that is for media. So in a closed discussion, he said the temporary arrests law was meant to lower the flames and increase the number of total people drafting within the ultra-Orthodox population. In practice, it didn't work, and therefore there won't be such a law in the next government. After the election, we'll form a wide national government that will immediately pass a full law of a full draft law for the ultra orthodox that will completely meet the IDF's requirements. And anyone who isn't studying Torah will either enlist into the army or go to jail. Okay, good questions to go back to in a second. Now, this is like everyone from from basically all the political spectrum that has any gripe with Netanyahu came after the statement. Basically, he's lying. Of course, he would try to leak this because he knows what damage the actual actions that he did, and so he's making promises, empty promises. Also, he says whoever doesn't study Torah will either enlist or go to jail. The problem is that they just inflate the number of people who study Torah. So that's like that's one of the issues. Even when that is supposed to be the case, they still manage to find ways to skirt the draft because they just say, "Oh yeah, we have like hundreds of thousands of people studying Torah." And so if this is an empty statement and without caps, it doesn't mean anything. If it is like the 5,000 top or X% of the total people who are meant to enlist that year, the top X%, if it doesn't have that, then it's an empty statement. So that's one thing that happened. Another is that, by the way, Dijal, is there anything in the chat that I should talk talk about or questions about this? What's that? No other is okay. Great, thanks. All right. Yes. 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 Netzach Yehuda. Yeah. So I'll tell the people what. So one second, I'll briefly explain what Netzach Yehuda is for people who don't know, which I assume is most people. Um, it was a more open. Um, it was a more open approach to getting the ultra orthodox to enlist. It's a unit that is like made for the ultra orthodox, so it only has ultra orthodox, so it fits their lifestyle and their needs. Um, and it seems to have been a success. Like people have enlisted into Netzach Yehuda properly. There's a question. Yeah, yeah. It's a combat. Yeah, it's a special combat unit. It served in Gaza as well in the latest war. Um, there was some controversy about it. Like people from abroad wanted to what was it? Um, sanction it or something, which is unclear whether it was justified or not based on actions that actually happened. But yeah. Okay, so go ahead. Sorry, I want to explain it to the viewers. Mm. Yahya Sinor himself. Yeah, as a child, like as a little girl. Oh wait, sorry. Sorry, Yuda, 1 second. Apparently people can't hear you, so I'm gonna reshare the screen and make sure that this time it has audio. So okay, so 1 second. No, the problem isn't with you. The problem is with my sharing. So 1 second. All right. Sorry, everyone. I will get the hang of this someday. Uh, or so let's see. Okay, so let's see
Ekel.
how people can hear you. I made sure that the audio is on, but maybe I'll need to share it some other way. Maybe I'll need to share the whole window
Okay.
as opposed to just the. So I
Test,
want to see what
test.
people in the chat are saying now. Yeah. So let's wait for confirmation. Can people hear Yuda now? Audio is now okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
equal, test, test.
Yes. Yes. It works.
Don't put
Good.
it. Don't put it together. No, my question is the law was around Menachem Begin. I think there was this law with Orthodox that are like Koilim, like a little bit like learn Torah, but stay outside of society. So it's because you have to go slow into society, have a social security number, a job, and not lose everything at once. And this is and they did a lot in the Tzahal for that women will partake, but nothing about the Orthodox. It's like oh, Yiddishkeit, no, and that's the result. And of course, we have in every group we have your mafiosos. We too. Sorry, surprise.
Yeah.
But I think instead of you go to prison, it should. What is the real problem? Nobody, because the people tell it openly. It's like only, yeah, I wanted to, and then they all protested because yeah, you make it impossible. It's like they want to create division in Israel.
So I see what you're saying. There are problems. So I think the major problem is at the end of the day one of sovereignty. It's the same issue that happened with the Arab society, like on a broad scale, where you allowed too much of a an enclave with its own education and its own like systems within the country that isn't connected to the rest of the country. Um, the issue is like there's a chicken and egg issue, which normally would be okay. Like you do it slowly. The the problem is that since they have exponential growth on societal level, like you can't at this point. It's way too late to start taking care of the issue. But at the same time, if you do too slowly, then you're gonna have collapse before the problem is fixed. So it's a delicate balance. I see what you're saying, and ideally, with more time and without 3 years of war, this could have been done better. I think you have to be you have to have a certain level of sensitivity to the ultra orthodox public in Israel when you make this broad change.
I mean,
Um,
sorry,
yeah,
you know about Jonathan Pollard. He would be the candidate to talk to how to do it, and he's really a patriot. Jonathan Pollard, the one who was in prison for saving Israel with the
yeah,
anti-India counter affair, for example. And okay, I have a bias because I'm Haredi myself.
yeah.
So
Oh, now I can't hear you. Oh, you muted yourself. You muted yourself.
it worked when they did it like with Netza Yehuda, or where the problem. You know, also when the 67 when the Chabadnik came too late to the plains, and that's why they won the war. You know the story, for example.
Oh
You
no,
can have
I didn't know the story.
no, because they started the planes, and the Israelis wanted to bomb the planes from the Egyptians in the airport, but they had been had to go back for tanking, and they had the same kind of tank. So it was when the Israelis were in the air, weren't in the air, the Egyptians also not. There was one crazy group of Chabadniks. Chabad takes always place in the army from beginning, and they said no, we have to pray shachas. So they were 30 minutes too late in the air. Meanwhile, the Egyptians were landing again and dipped in the bomb wall. So sometimes
Oh,
you don't know.
yeah. I think I did it.
Yeah,
It rings a bell. I think I have heard about this. Now that you said
yeah. So
the whole thing.
we do have luck in these things. Yes, it's like the Coca-Cola. You know when they were throwing Coca-Cola because it makes the fist sound when it goes down, and they didn't have enough bombs because America was boycotting Israel with arms, and so there's the three bombs, three Coca-Cola one bomb. They make the same sound when they go down because the carbon dioxide expands of, and they didn't know if it is a bomb or Coca-Cola. So they
Hmm.
heard the Coca-Cola
Okay.
and they ran away.
I see.
So
Interesting.
we have little funny ideas,
Yeah.
but
Um.
you have to do both. But you have to do everything. I would say, yeah. That's on.
Everything in what sense?
You can say, okay, we need quick the people joining the army, but that they are combat ready. And you can say, okay, I mean, they go there to the, uh, but you have to one opening the IDF for units that can accommodate also if you want female fighters that are orthodox, for example. They have been can't mix them in a variety, yeah, or for example, the argumentation. The argument always with the parashat about defending Israel. So they are in the Torah, but they don't. But you have if you have the elder, you have like a little mishukne rabbi. Sorry for use words. Kind of when if somebody who is a wilde Briere and says no, I don't
Who is
recognize
what?
Israel. Wilde Briere is somebody is crazy. In English, there's
Okay.
only crazy. It's boring English. Yiddish is much funnier with so many expressions for crazy.
Yeah.
However, what else? Yes, you can say what I cite always Lota Amut Adam Re'echa. Why do I cite it? Because it says don't send in the blood of your neighbor. Because
Hmm.
there you don't mention Israel. So somebody says when somebody says, no, I'm now going. I don't want to call it. I have an idea. Go totally title baum not Torikata, yeah? Something like that. Yeah, it's still your neighbor.
Yeah.
The argument doesn't fly. And so the argumentation, they don't use the argumentation. And you have people that are very famous, like Jonathan Paul is like this example in army. He was in the Secret Service of the Navy in the US. Talk to them. It seems no, but everybody thinks, how can we force it instead of talking to people that really want to defend the country?
So, there's an open question within Israel. How many of them? What percentage of them? I think it's true for the younger generation that they do, like, more and more of them want to defend the country, and they're not represented well in the by their representatives in the Knesset. There is now actually a new party that's starting that is meant to be more democratic, because so far you have parties that are the representatives of a specific, like, very well-regarded rabbi. So you have the representation of Hasidut Gur, would have their own, rabbi, and he essentially tells the members of parliament what to do. That represent him. So now there's a movement, and I hope it succeeds, to form a properly actual, like an actual proper democratic ultra-Orthodox party. I hope it succeeds, and I hope that it can be more amenable, like, to working together with the broader public. And so I'm willing to believe, because I, as someone who's not ultra-Orthodox and has very few, I have some, but very few connections to that public in Israel, I'm willing to believe that the younger generation wants to serve, and anecdotally, like, I have reasons to believe it. But it is still an open question. Would have to see if such a democratic party actually goes off the ground and succeeds. Then we can see what, because right now we don't have access to what the average person within the ultra-Orthodox society in Israel thinks, because of the fact that it's very top down. But okay, I do think there are some comments I'd like to get to. But does anyone want to respond before I do? Deja, have you seen anything?
Yeah, Samantha has put a one in the chat. I'll read it to you. Please. Yeah.
Oh, so okay.
Please
So no,
read.
if it's a one, then I want to quickly go through comments that were here earlier. Okay. So
Yeah, of course.
okay. So Bobo asked, IDF's technological complacency, the unprofessional professionalism. I believe what you're talking about is with regards to, like, not having already a solution to the drone issue, even though people have been alerting people about that for a while. Yes. I think this is a holdover from before October 7th. I think nowadays they're going to be more proactive. I hope they're going to be more proactive. And there is a changing of the guard in that the type of approach of complacency is being replaced. The Minister of Defense is actively working to put people with a more, in Hebrew we say, with a knife between the teeth approach, meaning that, like, proactive, going into battle, and not waiting for things to happen. And the more and more of the senior IDF positions are becoming with that approach. So we still have some making up to do, but for example, Zini, the new head of the Shin Bet, has already mentioned that the drone issue is something that he's very concerned about, and they're actively working on it, not in terms of the way it is now, but the way it's going to be. So there is a more proactive approach now. So Bobo, hope that answers the question. So yes, Guy, IDF's technological complacency, the unprofessional professionalism of an army whose officers rotate every 2 years and let industry decide what it buys. Yeah, so I think that is changing. People are becoming more actively involved, from what I can tell. Okay, and then also Bobo, populist Ben-Gvir mocked Spain's anti-Israel prime minister, open Spain to Gaza and create more human diversity. Is that what Ben-Gvir said? So a couple of things. First of all, I probably agree with everything that Ben-Gvir wrote in that document, or at the very least as a troll. Without reading what he actually wrote, but probably I would be like, yeah, I also think this, or at the very least, this is a great troll comment to say. I don't think the Minister of Internal Security should do that kind of thing without first talking to the Foreign Office. Just in general, it's not your field, it's not your area, the area that you're in charge of. There is a broader foreign strategy, and you should adhere to that. And we've already seen, and we've had cases in the past few months, where Ben-Gvir has made foreign-facing decisions that were not coordinated with the Foreign Office, and the Foreign Office fumed over it. And that's one of the reasons one of my problems with him. He does a lot of damage to the country abroad to gain more internal support. And even if you think it's a good thing to do abroad, at the very least you should coordinate with the rest of the government, because you're not alone. You're not a sole ruler. You're not even the ruler. You're not in charge of the general policy of the government. You're in charge of one facet of the policy. So Bobo is saying populists like Ben-Gvir and Trump get the votes. I think those are very different. For several reasons. I think Trump was a voice for people who didn't have a voice. And that's not the case in Israel. Broadly, you have several parties. It's also not a two-party system. You have several parties that support most of Ben-Gvir's positions. Likud supports most of Ben-Gvir's, the positions that you would need a party for. If you remove Ben-Gvir from the equation, the votes would divide among other parties, but you wouldn't lose the voice that Ben-Gvir represents. You would just lose the damage that Ben-Gvir creates. He was not the first and only person to talk about prison conditions. Trump was the first and only person to talk about the things he was talking about. He was the only person to make a huge point out of the border. Okay, here. So Lotem is now in agreement with me. I finally managed to get some point of agreement from Lotem about Ben-Gvir. That's true. Even if he says true things, he's damaging Israel. Yeah, that's my problem. I mean, I have several problems, but you have to play ball. You have to be a team player, and you're not the only person who represents that voice, even though you like to pretend that you are. Okay. So, Bobo, I hope that answers the question. Okay, we already talked about this. Nina is saying best guy ever, and I'd like to clear something up. I know I said I like dad jokes. I like my dad jokes. Dad jokes at my expense are, I mean, okay, I'll handle them, but let the record show that I am displeased by these dad jokes. I am the dad joker, not the dad jokey. Okay, so glad we got that cleared up. Leo is asking, what is Eisenhower's foreign policy position? Is he aligned with Bibi or different? Oh, okay. I now see that your profile image has advanced to being a dog with a beret, where it says Leo. So you also agree that the way Armin pronounces it is very French. One of the issues is that no one really knows. There are broad, I can go to the Yashar portfolio and read out what it says, but it's very broad. It's very safe. And it's not quite clear. He's probably going to be like a centrist. He has some right-wing people in his party. He has some left-wing people in his party. But broadly speaking, he's going to be to the left of Bibi. Okay, so some comments that are relevant. people in the Foreign Office are mainly leftist. I'm not sure. So Sai is asking this. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. They seem to be mostly professional. Like they deal with diplomacy. So to the extent that you deal with diplomacy, you have to take into account global outlooks. But that doesn't mean that, like, on balance, that doesn't mean you're a leftist. It just means you're more diplomacy oriented. You can be diplomacy oriented from a right wing perspective as well. For example, there are more sophisticated and less sophisticated ways to talk about wanting to annex the West Bank. So back to Eisenkot. I'll briefly go through the 10 steps that are posted on the website, and tell me afterwards if you feel like you actually understand what the foreign policy is going to be. So number 1, mending the fractures. So we'll form I mentioned the term mamlechti before. I said it's going to be relevant. Mamlechti means like above politics, I guess would be the best way to put it. So we'll create an above politics investigation committee into the October 7th massacre, the decade that came before it, and the management of the war. We will create broad moves to help and recuperate the people who were affected by October 7th and the preceding war, and also create more settlements in the Negev and the Western Negev and the North, which are areas in Israel proper. It's not part of areas in dispute like the West Bank. Okay. So the problem with this already is that Vadat Chakira Mamlechtit, an above politics investigation committee, is generally appointed by the head of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is a highly political issue. So a investigation committee that is staffed by the head of the Supreme Court, who himself is a very political person, is going to be highly political in itself, with the veil of nonpartisanship. So the government offered something like happened after 9/11, a committee that's staffed by people from both the opposition and the coalition, instead of staffed by the head of the Supreme Court, which I personally support more. I can see why people are against it, but I think overall it's a better solution. There is a version of the above politics investigation committee that works. It depends on how the staffing works, and this is lacking in detail. Number 2, fortifying national security. We will create a new national security strategy that is based on planning and taking the initiative. Now, this is something that Eisenkot has been saying for years. Yeah. Okay. So Rotem is saying something that I should mention. Yeah, it's not exactly above politics. It's a tricky phrase to explain. It's deciding policies that benefit the country, not the politicians. That's sort of what I meant by above petty politics or above personal interests. But it's a hard term to. I think you'll agree with me. It's a hard term to translate. So thank you for the extra clarification there. And then it's platitudes like we'll make the IDF stronger, we'll fortify the border security, and make Israel a regional power. At the same time, we will aim to expand the peace with other countries, and to ensure a solid Jewish majority for generations, and fortifying Israel's standing in the world, which is all great, but it really, really, really depends what you mean by that. Like, we'll aim to increase peace, okay, by giving up the West Bank. We'll ensure a Jewish majority, again, by giving up the West Bank. Like, how? These are things that everyone says. How do you intend to do this? This is unclear. We'll pass a law for, again, mamlachti. The word mamlachti is his brand is being mamlachti, is being above petty politics and putting the nation first. Pass a law of national service for all that will bring both the Haredi and Arab, that will bring in both the ultra-Orthodox and the Arab populations within the appropriate frameworks. First and foremost, the IDF. Obviously, the Arabs are not going into the IDF. No one is claiming they are. No one is attempting to put them in there. That's like a national security issue. So okay, sure, but everyone's saying this. Improve the hey, Jose. Can you turn off the mic if you're not going to talk? Thank you. Improving the education system. A common core for everyone. That's an issue with ultra-Orthodox education. It doesn't have common core. Or at least some of it. Like, some of it does, some of it doesn't, which means they don't learn English and math, which means they can't then join the workforce effectively. So, common core for all.
Sorry, but we have the Parashat Sukkot in the Talmud, and therefore you need high math, you need integral, you need trigonometry, you need all that for Sukkot.
to build
it goes very
the
in the detail, and it goes there. And if you have the for example, if you have the Gabe von der had, for example, calculated why they are letter different for how big the there's a percent in front of the temple, and if you see the difference between how the word is written, the letter, if you calculate it, you have P. So
okay.
You learn this in yeshiva, except you have a stupid professor. If you have a stupid professor, you don't learn in yeshiva. But I agree that the school system for the Orthodox are like in Europe, and what is the school system in Europe? It's a fabric for making crétins.
Yeah, so I think the European and the non-Israeli systems are better because you're not expected to just get
no. Look, in France, mathematics is, the professor asks, well, how much is 2 + 2? The pupil says, I vote for the communists when I'm big. The professor says, you're an genie in mathematics, you get an A. This is French school system today. Okay.
I mean, I'm not talking about the general system. I'm talking about the ultra-Orthodox, like the private systems that the Orthodox Jews go to outside of Israel, because they're expected to be more self-sufficient. They also teach more broad education than they do in Israel. That's what I meant. So okay, now there is something here that I'm very much for. And it's not obvious that he's saying this. Okay, more comments to. Yes. Okay. So I think non-Israeli audience can better understand the term mamlachti by the saying "working for the good of the kingdom" rather than the king. Yeah. So that's another way of putting it. I think now we're getting the hang of the term. We're going to disperse so still in education, we're going to disperse the authority and strengthen both teachers and principals at the edges. So right now, Israel is very, very centralized in terms of its education, and my wife's job is literally to promote decentralization of the education system. So the fact that this is the first policy that I can actually point to and say, oh, that's an actual policy, and there are people who disagree with, I'm very optimistic about this, because there's a high chance that Eisenkot is going to be part of the next government in whatever role. And so the fact that even he, who is trying to have like a broad approach, is for this is excellent in my opinion. And we'll also strengthen technological studies, as well as implementing topics regarding the traditions of Israeli society. Okay, well, essentially, the next one, I'll quickly go through the rest so we can continue. The rest is like put an end to the lack of sovereignty. So there are problems with policing and gangs and so on. But again, okay, how? What specific ways? Like, everyone's for this, but how are you going to do this? We'll make the economy better and reduce cost of living. Okay. Now there is some policy here, but it's so dependent on the actual way of implementing it. So incentives like housing, tax deductions, and stuff like that would be prioritized for people who carry the security and economic load. Meaning, if you served in the army, you're going to get more benefits like these, which is like, okay. We'll decentralize things. So the way it's phrased, it can be either unions or monopolies. So this can be read as like both a socialist and a capitalistic policy. It doesn't really say which one. And we'll invest a lot in infrastructure. Okay, this is very general, as you can see. We'll improve public service, reduce social polarization, and bring back people who left Israel. Prepare for the 100th year for the State of Israel. Okay, like this is all very, very general. And he did recently say in an interview with the New Yorker. Now, it could be because he was talking to a left-leaning publication that he said this, but he said the Israeli public moved rightward after October 7th, but I haven't changed, which is very worrying. If you haven't changed, if October 7th hasn't changed you and your positions, then I don't trust that you're learning properly. Like, as you go on in your life, you need to let reality affect you in your positions. Okay. So that was a bit more long-winded than I wanted. But quickly, 3 comments about this. Lotham is saying he's Osloid. He will wait for instructions from Biden. He has enough right-wingers in his party, and also will have enough right-wingers in his coalition, i.e. Lieberman and Bennett. That Bennett recently said, for example, that I think, if I remember correctly, let me quickly fact-check. But I think he said that we need to dismantle the PLO. Let's see if I'm remembering. And they said it like recently. Okay, I can't find it. I wanted to look for it and then I forgot. But like, there will be people in this government, whatever the government is, that will veto any kind of decisions that are too strong against the right wing. And also, like, he has people both within his own party and people who would like, he himself says that it's too, even if he's pro two-state solution, it's way too early. You need to do a lot of work to get there. And fine, start doing that work. Dismantle UNRWA, dismantle the PLO, improve, make it so that they don't have Nazi education. How about that? That's I think conducive to peace. So start doing all of that, and we'll see what happens with the land afterwards. By the way, for the record, in principle, if the the average Palestinian wasn't the equivalent of a Nazi in terms of Jew hatred. I would probably be for a Palestinian state in such a way where we recognize each other's affinity to certain regions. And so, for example, if people want to visit the Tomb of the Patriarchs, they would be able to do it freely if they're Israeli. Like Israel, if in a perfect world, if the Palestinians don't hate us to the extent that they do, then you can have like a special relationship between the state of Palestine and the state of Israel, recognizing that both populations have histories in their respective side and should be allowed to visit freely. But this is not the case because we can't trust Palestinians to freely allow them to go to Haifa and Acre because of terror. And they don't allow us to go into places that are holy for us because they hate us. So if the Palestinian population was different, a lot of this could have been solved in a way that you actually have sovereignty to the Arabs without losing on the Israeli connection to the land. But it's just not the case. Okay. So Samantha has been waiting patiently. Is she still here? Yes. So Samantha had a 1, and Daijal, also tell me if there are others who have responded to what I said, or otherwise want to say something. Okay, Daijal is not opening his mic.
Yeah, sorry, I was having some technical difficulties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, school app sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking through.
So Samantha had a 1 earlier.
Yes. Would you like to speak, Samantha, or do you want me to read it for you?
She said that you should read it, right?
Yes, just a second.
Yeah, I'm not finding it.
Yeah, I got it. Please read. Does anyone know of any upcoming services in the Eastern Time Zone of the United States for the 10th Yarzit of the greatest politician of my lifetime? Yes, the greatest politician of my lifetime, Shimon Peres.
Oh, okay. I mean, I disagree with the assessment. I think he did a lot of damage. But if anyone knows, put it in the chat, and I'll let Samantha know. Okay. A few other questions. Where WUB is saying, where does Hamas in Gaza get their new weapons from? You agree they're actually rearming. The border to Egypt is under IDF control, and there is no shipments into Gaza. So there are shipments into Gaza in terms of food, and presumably some of those have weaponry stashed in them, unfortunately. And also drones. Drones both carrying weapons and drones that are themselves the weapons.
They're a Bedouin group that was sending drones to the Hamas. From Israel to Hamas. I heard about Bedouins, some radical Bedouins that sent drones to Hamas. In the south, in the Negev, where they have the mafias also.
Yes. And there was a very important comment that I wanted to highlight. Okay, 2 comments. E is saying, don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to Guy. Let's support him so he keeps doing this. So this is my channel. And I'll also put it in the chat. And also from Bobo, for a different comment, 100%. Don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to Guy. So I just think this is an important statement and needs to be said. Okay. Shlomo is saying, there's no board of peace. Its only investment is a PR. Its only investment is a PR firm. President Millet is a member. He's never been contacted, briefed, asked to send representatives, or voted on anything. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and that's going to tie into the next topic, the main topic that I have for today, which is what's going on with Gaza. And also from Shlomo, Eisenkot is a direct prodigy and supporter of Ehud Barak, who personally attempted to destroy our country. Eisenkot should receive 0 votes from anyone. I don't think that this is true. I don't think, like, technically speaking, I don't think he has. I think he's disagreed with Barak on certain things. They had clashes. By the way, Barak was against Oslo, funnily enough, at the time. So I'm not sure if that's true. I can look into it. But there are reasons to be worried if Eisenkot is completely in charge. I think he needs some other perspectives around him that will push him specifically to the right of him. So you agree Hamas is actually rearming themselves? Yes. Yeah. So if that wasn't clear from my answer, I do agree with this. Bobo is saying never trust a lefty. Again, talking about Eisenkot. Okay. And Siddhartha, always, first of all, thanks for coming on. Always love hearing from you. I saw an interview with a Hebloni Arab who said that the dismantling of the Palestinian identity is a prerequisite to peace. Yes, I actually have that. I wanted to play parts of it, not today, but probably on my next stream, perhaps with a guest. So the channel in question is Joseph Cohen, Israel Advocacy Movement. He's really great. He knows a lot of stuff. He's from the West Bank, originally from the UK. And this is a very interesting conversation. It's very candid. And I think we can learn a lot about this, namely, and most importantly, that the Palestinian identity is ruining the lives of Arabs in the West Bank, and not just because of Israel tightening security. The Palestinian identity is a weapon by the PLO to ruin the lives of, or that in effect is ruining the lives of Palestinians. Because the reason that the PLO gets funds is because look at those poor people that are poor and destitute and so on. Give us money so we can support them. The issue is that then if you support them and you actually take them out of poverty, you don't have a reason to get funds anymore. Yosef Cohen is very good in the way he has a conversation with adversaries. Yes, I highly, highly recommend. I'll put the channel itself in the chat. He's a really good resource, and specifically this conversation is very, very eye-opening. Like, Guy, do you like the son of Hamas guy? I forgot his name. Damn, I'm blanking on the name as well.
Musab Hassan Yusuf.
Musab Hassan Yusuf. Thank you. Yes. So I like him on certain things. That, by the way, Rebecca, that doesn't solve all the other. It doesn't absolve you of all your other crimes. He's very good on certain things, and he is terrible on Iran. And so I like what he says when he's talking strictly about Israel, but yeah, but when he talks about Iran, I like, no, absolutely not. And I mean, we have to hold those kinds of positions. Like, do you like X? Well, sometimes, these are public figures, and so you don't have to attach yourself to them. You can agree with some of what they say and some of what they don't say. Okay. Good. Does anyone else have anything, Dejal? Have you seen anything in the chat?
Yeah, I'm looking. Nothing specific. Would anybody like to say anything right now? I said like nothing specific. Would anybody like to say anything right now? I'm just asking the crowd.
Yeah.
I would like a rebuttal against my crimes.
Overruled. Anyone else?
Well, I was going to say about Masabas and Yusuf. Yeah, I was a big fan. I've been a big fan of this for a few years now, especially since after October 7th, because of just how solid he's been on the issue of Israel versus Palestine and supporting Israel and opposing Islamic encroachment into Western civilization and the Islamic conquest of Western civilization. I was really a big fan of his. But then the Iranian Revolution started, and he opened his mouth and just completely went full retard and started bashing the Shah and saying like this is hopeless. You can't win against this. We need another plan. It kind of making pro MEK statements, kind of like, or maybe at least you should be talking to them and all that. It's like that's really diminished him in my eyes. He was a guy that a lot of people had a lot of respect for because of how blunt and abrasive he was for the cause. But now that he's saying this shit, a lot of people have just soured on him, and I totally understand.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think most of us who know him had the same sort of outlook. So Amberly is correct in saying he's a good person to talk about if people don't know who he is, Guy. So he is the son of Hamas. He is the son of one of the founders of Hamas. And he eventually figured out, damn, my society is like super violent. Maybe I shouldn't advocate for this. Went into Israeli prison as a member of Hamas, and over time just got to know Israelis and got to know that they're actually decent and that his society is fucked up, and became an informant for Shabak, for Shin Bet, and renounced Islam and so on. And he has been on the run. Like people are looking for him to eliminate him. I think he's non-denominational Christian now, but I think he also doesn't even want the label Christian. He's spiritual, I think, is what he says. And he's also very smart for the most part, and that was why it was all the more surprising that he came out with such ardent takes against the Shah and against Pahlavi, and some stuff against the war. Like a lot of it was just, why are you saying this? And it seems to me that the MEK got to him. I don't know if they got to him in the sense that they paid him off. I don't think he is the kind of person who can pay off, but I think they convinced him that of these things being true, unfortunately. Okay, so WUB is saying, please check out Israeli advocacy movement on YouTube video. I debunked the biggest lie told about Israel last year. I don't know which one specifically this is, but this is a great channel. Everyone should follow it. Oh, okay. So apparently I have to read this. Rebecca is saying, my crime of being Daniel's favorite, I'm not sorry. Is that what you have to, is that what you wanted to say to defend yourself? That you're not sorry?
Yes, I'm not sorry.
I don't remember giving you the right to speak.
But you had to, because I couldn't do the super chat, so you had no choice.
Yeah, so if you want to continue speaking, send super chats. So this was not convincing. Let me just put it that way. Saying you're not sorry does not convince me to forgive you. Musab Hassan Youssef. Yes, that's who we're talking about.
Forgiveness. I'm just talking facts. That's all. No forgiveness needed.
Okay.
You may proceed.
Oh, thank you. Daijal, mute her. Even if she muted herself, mute her. Just because. Actually, okay, I'll do it. Allow audio. Disable audio. Should I press it? No. Okay. I'll give you one more chance. Okay. A few more comments to go through. Guy, you should do a TED talk on that comment. You don't have to agree with everything your politicians say. It's not just the politicians. I will do some long stream about epistemology at some point. But if you're married to a position, you're less likely to get the truth. Because when something happens, your immediate response would be, well, what do the people on my side think about this? And then you'd automatically adopt that position by default. And even if you might change it, the fact that you adopted it by default is already not a good epistemic thing to do. Now, some analytical philosophers would argue that, well, it depends on what the group is and so on. If it's a group of experts on the topic, then maybe you should adopt it. I disagree. I think expertise creates echo chambers, and we've seen a lot of this over the last few years, where just because you're an expert doesn't mean you don't have a blind spot. And even expert groups need, one, humility, and two, openness to diverging opinions that I think academia pretends to have or likes to claim to have. But in practice, anyone who's been in academia knows that you get a lot of pressure put on you if you have a dissenting opinion.
You mean like the COVID virus is from a bat that was flying from the jungle after a sex orgy into a soup? That were experts.
For example, yes. Okay, Bobo is saying Mordechai Kedar's 8-state solution for the Palestinians. I talked about this a lot. I'll say briefly again, because we get new people every day, which is another reason to, once again, anyone who's new here, who hasn't seen me before, if you're interested in hearing about geopolitics from an Israeli perspective and about epistemology and other things related to philosophy of mind, like what's consciousness, stuff like that, feel free to follow my channel. And again, geopolitics from an Israeli perspective, both internal to Israel and external, and about the Middle East and so on. So the 8-state solution for the Palestinians is essentially this. Palestinians do not intermarry. Intermarry in the sense that people from one tribe do not marry people from another tribe. They marry inside their own tribes. And as a result, technically, they're not a people. Like, the definition of a people is the cross-pollination. And so the solution that he's offering is essentially what they did in the UAE, where you have different clans, they rule different areas, and you have a state that sort of puts all these clans together as a single entity. And the Palestinians could do the same thing. You can have the city of Hebron, be its own municipality, its own autonomous entity, as will the city of Shechem, Nablus, and so on. And like the city of Hebron already wants to do this. They want to secede from the Palestinian Authority. They renounced it after they came out with it because they realized it's not going to happen soon, and they don't want to fight the Palestinian Authority yet. But they do want to do this. They put an article in Wall Street Journal saying, "Hey, we want to secede from the Palestinian Authority and join the Abraham Accords and be like under Israel's umbrella." Because no one likes the Palestinian Authority. Palestinian Authority is a group of corrupt corrupt rulers that were superimposed from the outside with an artificial Western approach to state building that doesn't work on these clans, because these are clans, and they're more tied to internally to the clan than to the Palestinian nationhood. And as a result, the Palestinian nationhood is not the right way to do this. There will be infighting. So that's the eight state solution. Like, you have between 7 and 8 such mini states that are essentially municipalities with autonomy.
Emirats.
Yeah. So I didn't want to say Emirates because they don't like being called Emirates. But the solution is essentially we'll copy the Emirates structure from the UAE. What are you saying? MEK talking points about Musab Hassan Youssef? Yes, unfortunately. And Freedom to Gargamel is asking, what do you think about Trump's flip-flopping the attack? First of all, I would like to empathize with all of us. This is exhausting. Emotionally, this is exhausting. I can't imagine what it's like being an Iranian inside Iran. This is absolute emotional torture. Having said that, there's just so much we don't know. I fear that America might be getting ready to lower its demands on nuclear. Not remove them, but lower them, because Trump has went from saying Iran can never have a nuclear weapon to saying Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. As did Caroline Levitt. She said Iran will not have a nuclear weapon as long as Trump has something to say about it, which is vague. And Rubio also said Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Certainly not when this president's in power. We don't know what future presidents will do. So that's concerning. Having said that, I still think fundamentally the idea is to get past the midterms and then strike. And yeah, I recommend actually to some people to actually take a step back a bit. I understand it's hard. I did that a while ago. When the MOU was signed, I just had to, I was also sick at the time, but I just had to take a step back and just not focus on the news for a few days. Right now I'm in a position where I have to, because, I do this. But if it's exhausting and if you're sick of it, actually it might be a good idea to take like a week off and come back fresh. It really helped me. Okay. Good. Let's see what else we have here. All right. Oh, so Kat is here. Hello, Kat. So I might do streams with Kat as well. We'll have to set it up. Yeah, she's saying hope so. So that's something we can, like, I believe I sent you my number on Liberty Politics, so we can talk there and decide what's the best time to do this. For me, it's very easy when I'm not alone here. It's much easier to have someone else here, so that you don't have to man the ship yourself. So Shlomo Ishtov is saying PA authority is our method of controlling hostile population while demonizing them to avoid a state until such a time as the population can be removed, and they pay us 77% for the privilege. Who's our Israel or the West? Because I don't like the Palestinian Authority originally under the Oslo Accords was meant to be the actual governing body that would eventually turn into its own state. So Shlomo is saying correct, but I gave several answers and the answer came in late. So if you can clarify which of those options you're talking about, not just because of the comments take like 10 seconds to show up. I can't know which part of what I'm saying you're saying correct to. So like originally was meant to be the again, who's R? So Shlomo is saying this isn't the organization detailed in the Oslo Accords. It is our creation. R being who? Israel, the U.S. Yeah, there are things here that I'm not following in the comments. So Shlomo, if you can clarify it, that would be great. Shlomo is also saying the blockade kills the regime before the midterms. We hope. We don't know that, and the blockade would have to stay in effect, which would also mean that the oil prices would go up. Presumably, there would be some sort of blockade versus in exchange for blockade deal. Like if Trump wants to win the midterms, he wants to lower the prices, he'd have to take care of that. Okay, so is anyone willing to share the screen with this link? Because now I'm going to actually go into the main topic. Wait, don't tell me. Oh my God. Can I not post links on school? Wow. Oh no. Okay. Maybe I did it wrong. Okay. Yes, I did it wrong. Never mind. School is a great platform. Join the discussion group using the link over there. You can be part of these calls and the calls that Armin makes. Ask us questions. And we normally answer unless you're Rebecca, which point I save the option of ignoring her and muting her. Okay. So can someone open the link I just sent and share the screen? Because that's the only way I found to, if I want the things I'm showing to show up both in school and in the and on stream, I need someone else to share them so that it doesn't say you are sharing the screen. It's a map of Gaza. So basically, here's what's going on right now. The yellow line is slowly encroaching on Hamas territory, so much so that it has now passed the main like Gaza has a road. It would really help me if someone can open the map and then I'll share it. Jose, if you're talking to us, you're muted. No, okay. How do I do that? Okay, so did you open the map, Yuda? Open your mic so we can do it easier. Okay. So at the bottom.
Yes, I have now.
At the bottom, you have a share screen option. Like, and you have microphone, camera, and then share screen.
I have a smiley there. I put the smiley on. It doesn't react.
No. Oh, so you don't have a share screen option?
This I have the participants. Is that?
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna allow you to share the screen. So I pressed allow share screen. Now you might have a button there.
I don't see the button now. You sent it on the where's the button?
So I just said allow screen sharing. I gave you permissions to screen share. If someone here is a mod, they have that by default.
Where did you put the button? Did you put it in the text in the chat?
No, I didn't put the button anywhere. It's a button that's next to video. Like you have mic, video, and you should have share screen before the reaction button.
Yes. Entire screen. Okay. This share, and now just a moment.
Okay. So
does it work?
There we go. Yes. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect.
So this is. Can you zoom in a bit? Okay. So you see this middle road here? This is Salah ad-Din. This is the main road on the Gaza Strip, and the yellow blocks that are used to mark the yellow line have moved past this road, at least in parts. Thank you. This is enough. And so Hamas are in trouble. Like their territory is being encroached upon to such an extent that they're about to become, presumably, depending on what the way Israel goes with this, but they might be about to become enclaves. Now, as a result of pressure, presumably this being part of it, and so they agreed to a deal that Israel cannot accept. Israel cannot accept a deal where Hamas gives its weapons in lockstep with Israel withdrawing, and without mentioning at all rifles. Only like very heavy weaponry is being mentioned. But what would happen then is that instead of Hamas being governed by, Gaza being governed by Hamas, Gaza would be governed by a puppet government that would be governed by Hamas. You don't want that. That would be it will turn from Hamas in Gaza to Hezbollah in Gaza. It will be the same kind of model, and so Israel cannot afford to do this, to allow this to happen. And no amount of pressure from America is going to change that. And I hope that the Americans are not going to apply that pressure, even though apparently there is some pressure. Yeah. So Monkey, by the way, subscribe to Monkey as well. The Monkey is saying the deal sounds more and more retarded the more I hear about it. He felt it so strong that he said it twice. Yeah, it's a horrible. It's not a good way to deal with Hamas. And there were agreements between the Israeli side and and like this is basically not what was agreed upon. So I'm quickly going to give you a statement. Certain ministers are now demanding. Okay, so Ministers Smotrich and Stuk demanded the Prime Minister immediately halt the entry of the International Stabilization Force into the Gaza Strip. This was voted upon. The cabinet decision voted for this, but that was before the details of the deal were agreed upon or were published, and we didn't know actually there was a deal in the works. And so the cabinet decision was made based on incorrect information. The roadmap document published by the Peace Council is dangerous for Israel and completely contradicts the disarmament of Hamas and the demilitarization of Gaza. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and okay, let's see if there's anything. So this is a press statement. Yeah. So basically,
are we doing the two systems and all of that to respond?
Yes. Once, I mean,
okay.
Yeah, and Dijal is monitoring the chat. So they're saying Basically, this goes against a lot of the promises that were made to Israel, and the ISF force is changing its purpose. Unlike what was presented to the cabinet, unlike the commitments given to Israel, the multinational force will not work to demilitarize the Strip or against terrorist elements in the Strip, but will separate IDF forces from the NCAG. NCAG is the new government, so that it will, in fact, supervise Israel's activities and, in effect, tie the hands of the IDF. A new international mechanism is being established that was not presented to the cabinet. An international verification commission that will consist of the Peace Council, the ISF force, and representatives of the guarantor states, whose identities are not yet known. And as a result, they're asking, the bottom line, the cabinet members demand that Israel announce that it does not accept the roadmap in its current form, immediately convene this political security cabinet, and adopt a resolution that will prevent the ISF force from entering the Gaza Strip until the roadmap is amended so that it meets the war goals and the commitments made to Israel. And presumably this is coming from Netanyahu, but it's not signed. It's just a political person saying this. Israel will not withdraw from the current line in the Gaza Strip and will continue to thwart any threats against our citizens and soldiers. But yeah, essentially, and this just in, the head of the Peace Council to Prime Minister Netanyahu, stop the strikes on Gaza as you have agreed to in the agreement. Sure, we agreed to an agreement, but if you're moving away from the agreement and you're doing something completely different, then it doesn't quite force our hand either, does it? But yeah, so right now this is a bit of a crisis from Israel's perspective, and it will have to deal with this. Oh, hello again. Double streaming on Armin's channel too. Wanted to visit, guys. Yes, everyone visit my channel. Also subscribe. Join the discussion group. If you want to learn Hebrew, there's a link in the description to a course that I created for learning Hebrew. Like every stream, there's at least one person who's interested, so I figured I'd at least mention it.
Hebrew course and the transport course also.
And what?
Do you have also a course in Hebrew and transport?
No. It's only Hebrew. Okay. So that's basically where we are. Does anyone have anything they want to say? I saw the cat had a 2 in the chat.
Not that I know of. Oh, the wrong cat. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
Cat Meowski.
Yeah.
I thought you were not allowed to speak, Rebecca. Yeah, go ahead.
Ooh, okay. I don't know what I. Okay. First of all, I just want you guys to understand the best hope, I think, for the American. Why do I hear myself twice for some reason?
Yuda,
Okay.
I think no. Okay. Yeah, I think it should be better now.
Okay, so just imagine if right now Netanyahu lost the elections and more left-leaning or anything lefter, because he's not very much to the right. Like he's not far right, that's for sure, and he's like, never mind. But anything left than him would be much more easier for the American establishment or whatever, however you want to look at it, right, left, like Democrats, Republicans, they would all prefer a more like docile, I think is the word, more obedient Israeli government, which should tell you a lot. I'm just saying because because I think there will be a lot of pressure, and there will be a huge pressure, and we might even see some withdrawal at some point, even though it's hard to imagine. Yeah, it was, many things were hard to imagine. And this is, again, not there's any doubt about that, but this is, uh, well, it puts a lot of thoughts in my head about future uh, relations, which will be more complicated, I guess, or maybe more simpler. It depends how you look at it. But I just want to quote a simple thing that I heard from a Israeli comedian, a stand-up comedian. He said, we're fighting for 3 years, and we were promised a complete victory. And we have all this buildup of energy of victory of somewhere. And he said, I wouldn't mind, like, if some places were kind of victory or some places were losses. Okay, but at least I want one place. I want to fuck them up in one place. So let's conquer Cyprus. That's a joke. But but he was like banging on the table, and he said, I want one place to be fucked up. Yeah. We have
So
all this energy built up, which is crazy.
so I'm not sure whether another government. I mean, so in the other government, you would have some people who are for this. That would be the difference. But most of them, I think, there is wall to wall agreement, almost wall to wall, that this cannot be how this war ends. This entity is not what was, first of all, what was agreed upon, and second of all, something that Israel can live with. And it will only be more complicated if the ISF goes into Gaza. So Monkey's saying the deal is retarded. It's on you to reject the deal, no matter the pressure. Yes, but also, so you said, don't get mad at us. You're the ones who did this. This was done presumably by Trump or the people close to Trump, i.e., Witkoff and Kushner. So I mean, I feel like I'm allowed to get mad at the admin for this.
I think they're called Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Can you say the initials? Was that again?
ISF,
Yeah, what is that?
International Stabilization Force.
Oh, very stable. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So does anyone else have something they'd like to say about this topic? Okay. So Monkey's saying your government is supposed to serve you, not me. If your government doesn't serve you, that's a you problem. The government is serving us by rejecting the pressure that is coming from your government. Therefore, I'm allowed to be angry at your government for applying pressure that goes against what was agreed upon. I'm not blaming you personally, but there was an agreement, and it's sort of a backstabbing by the Peace Council. Because there were agreements in place, and those agreements are now not being met, or like they made an agreement with Hamas behind our back that does not go with the framework that was agreed upon between us and the Peace Council.
And can I add something? I think don't take this personally, Americans, because specifically who we're blaming here are two Jews. So
Yeah.
we can blame people and still be friends. It's fine, and we can still be angry at some people. Those two fuckers fuck things up. I'm sorry for saying this word a lot, but it fits. Yeah, we're very mad at them. So we're not like enemies now. That's okay. Don't be emotional.
I mean, it's not about like this. I'm allowed to feel negative emotions towards the administration when it does something like this. I think that's okay. So I mean, I think we're agreeing. So I'm not sure what the disagreement is. Trump is being retarded when he does this. You say no. I say stop being a retard, Trump. Yeah, I mean, we are saying no. I have a question then. What do most Israelis think of current pause against Iran? It's a good question. It really depends because most people aren't as in the weeds as we are with regards to the how unstable the regime is. Right now, people aren't really thinking about it that much. You don't want a bad deal with Iran, obviously, but with things as they are right now, we're just sort of focusing inwards on the election, and then we know, like, okay, maybe something will happen, and we're aware of it. But some people are hoping something happens, and some people are not that involved, and so they don't know. For example, they don't know much about what happened in January. They know what happened in broad terms, but they don't know what's happening now. They don't know, like, it's not as reported here in the mainstream media. Oh yeah, that's also true from Shlomo. Most Israelis know that Israel never paused in Iran. Mossad is operating every day in Iran. Yeah, I mean, every Israeli, every single Israeli wants the regime to fall. I mean, every single Zionist Israeli wants the regime to fall. But then how and like whether more bombing will do it. Like that's the kind of stuff that most people aren't that involved with. Okay, so what are we saying they lied about? The agreement was that Israel will only go out of Gaza after Hamas disarms completely, and also that the Palestinian Authority will not govern Gaza. The Gaza will be its own separate entity because the Palestinian Authority has UNRWA and other, like, it's still educating people to hate Israel and Israelis. And now they're saying that the disarmament will happen in lockstep with Israeli withdrawal. That the disarmament is not going to be complete. Like, it's not going to be total disarmament. They'll still keep what's called light arms, like rifles and stuff. And the new governing entity is apparently going to use Palestinian Authority resources. So it'll be like tied to the Palestinian Authority. And all three of these things were major points of contention that made Israel agree to the deal. Okay, so Monkey is saying, yes, we agree, but sometimes I agree aggressively and the agreement is missed and only the aggressiveness is seen. So I clarify. Okay, thank you, Monkey. What does Joseph's coat of many colors represent? It really depends. I'm not. You can ask me. I'm not guaranteeing I'll have the answer. So this is the biblical story. I think it depends on interpretation. I don't know if there's like a canonical interpretation. But yeah, so you can ask anything. I don't promise to have an answer. In this case, I don't have an answer. Does anyone know if there's another like anti-Semitic? Maybe this is an anti-Semitic comment, like the Metzitzah one, where it's like a trope that's online. It will, oh, secretly means that the Jews think they're better than us, or something like that. I don't know. It's hard to track all these tropes. Okay, so George Hansen saying Trump routinely prefers doing tasteful agreements purposely in order to get the rejections as a system of zeroing in on a target. Are you saying that about Iran or about Gaza? are the Arabs pro-Iran? Largely, pro IRGC. I mean, the Arabs that are against Israel are pro the IRGC because the IRGC is against Israel, and the IRGC is the biggest supporter of Palestinian statehood. Again, even though they're Shia compared to Sunni, but the reason is being anti-Jews. Mossad never. So Lior is saying Mossad never sleeps. Their operations span across decades. Yes, that is true. After Hamas disarms and Gaza is demilitarized, which means 100% tunnel destruction. Yes, and to be fair, Hamas seems to have agreed to tunnel destruction, but when the withdrawal is in lockstep, that's a problem. Now, this is something that I've heard about months ago, where essentially the feeling was, look, what do you mind if we try to get them to disarm themselves? If we succeed, great. If we don't succeed, you can go in. We have our word that you'll be able to go in and finish the job, because no one's going to invest in this place if it still has armed groups in it. If it partially succeeds, that's also good, because if it partially succeeds, then that means that they didn't fulfill their end of the agreement, but they still gave up some arms, so it's just going to be easier to finish the job. Okay, so Jamie is saying, just a coat of many colors, many races, covered from their forefathers' past sins and curses on their bloodlines, therefore being annulled, cancelled out through the blood of Jesus Christ. I can definitely tell you this is not the one accepted interpretation in Judaism. I think I can go on a limb and say that much. But even without the part of annulled through the blood of Jesus Christ, I've heard certain things said about this. I've never heard anything to do with past sins. So this is strictly a Christian interpretation. I'm not saying that judgmentally. I'm just saying this is not a Jewish interpretation of the colors. Yes.
May I say something to that?
Yes.
So people have to understand, somebody who was born in Nazareth was born in Judea. And if you look in my genes, in my Y chromosome, I have the haplotype that might be an ancestor. And for us, it's simply a family member that was cruelly tortured to death by the Roman Empire. That was Jesus. And so I feel good because somebody killed a family member. We have another, it's different for us.
You said you don't feel good?
No, if I say, hey, you are now you can have me forgiven for every bad you've done and be happy, and you only want you to kill your grandfather on the cross that he gasps after air and dies slowly. And I say, no, I don't want that, because that's what happened to crucifixion. See?
Yeah.
So it's not against Jesus; it's empathy for Jesus.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What else? Dijal is saying, I think Trump should respond by offering another ceasefire. I don't think he's done enough ceasefires. Now, okay, so here's something. This, in general, in Israel, when it says Gorem Medini, meaning state-affiliated, a political actor, and it doesn't say who, 9 times out of 10, it's Netanyahu not wanting to say it's Netanyahu. And here it's especially egregious because it says, in response to the ministers saying we should we should stop we should annul the decision to allow the ISF in. Then this reporter is saying a political official, again, this is the phrase Gorem Medini, is trying to calm things down, but is not bringing the agreement up for discussion again. So it's one of those political officials, the many of them, that have the power to bring this back up to discussion when the people who asked to bring it back up to discussion specifically asked Netanyahu to do it. So This is Netanyahu. And it's not something you're supposed to say, but this is an especially egregious instance of it. So Israel will not retreat from the current line in the Gaza Strip and will continue to thwart any threat to our citizens and soldiers. What I think might be happening, because Netanyahu came back from Trump and was like elated, I think this is meant to be a way to get Hamas to partially disarm without Israeli withdrawal. Like this is the positive interpretation. To get Hamas to disarm, partially at least, without Israeli withdrawal, and so they start, and then Israel is like supposed to start, but Israel says no, and then like it falls apart. But this is overly optimistic. I just figured I'd put the optimistic take out there as well. Also, he's saying Israel will not withdraw from the current line in Gaza Strip and continue to thwart any threats on our soldiers and civilians. But it doesn't put a timeline. It doesn't say until Hamas disarms. So it could just be a way to sort of thread the needle or thread the line. Okay, I should probably go soon. There are other like very small things. There was a storm in a teacup about the Minister of Security allegedly like putting someone out of duty, a major political figure, on live TV, allegedly for Likud primary reasons, because there was like pressure applied to him because of a decision this person made. That's not what happened. What happened was that they said, well, are you going to eliminate him? Are you going to eliminate none in the, like, are you going to take him out of his role? And he responded by saying that he's going to be replaced by X. Now, the decision that this person was going to be replaced by X was already made in April, and it will happen next year. But this was taken out of context as if he was saying live, like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna replace him because of the pressure and because of this disagreement. That's not what happened. So if you saw anything about that, just know that's fake news. Yeah, and there's another story that's a bit too nuanced. One of the people I was going to vote for. Okay, I will talk about it briefly because I think it's very indicative. One of the people I was going to vote for made a legally binding statement that she was forced to vote to show her vote on a certain matter to show the vote to the prime minister or to people from the government when that would be illegal. And she made like a binding legal declaration. And again, full disclosure, I was likely going to vote for this woman wherever she ended up. She's called, her name is Sharon Eskel. And then the head of the party that she's leaving now also made a sworn statement saying that, no, this never happened. No one from my party, I explicitly told them, vote your conscience. You don't have to show anyone anything. And only one of those. So there's these are conflicting statements. So one of them is lying, and the PA, not the Palestinian Authority, the Attorney General, Gali Barav Miara, is only investigating one side. The side. So this woman has left Likud, or the party that joined Likud. Never mind. But she left the coalition, and Gali Barav Miara is against the coalition, but she's supposed to be like an impartial person. And only the government affiliated declaration was investigated. And I think it was found that they're not lying. Now she's not checking her. She's not investigating her, like for giving false for being false witness. And that's egregious. That's outrageous. Because if you have two conflicting statements, you have to check both. Obviously, you can't just check one of them, and then if they're not lying, just disregard the other, just because it's politically convenient. So yeah, that's just a story that shows you the Attorney General and how bad it is. There's a lot of something I wanted to talk about. Okay, so Kevin is asking, what is the percentage of Muslims represented in the Knesset? The percentage of Muslims would probably be around 10%, I would say. Usually, like on average. So Bobo said right now it's 8%. But yeah, usually you have like 10% Arabs, which is also why it's harder to create a coalition in Israel, because normally these are anti-Israeli elements that are allowed to be in the parliament because Israel is a democracy with freedom of speech. But nevertheless, they are not valid partners to form a government with. And nowadays, I mean, there's one party trying to buck the trend to present itself as more civil-oriented. And some people are buying it, some people aren't. There are statements made by the head of this party that are problematic, and also problematic that it used to be affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood. I've mentioned this several times already. So if you're interested, you can watch other streams where I talk about this at length. But generally speaking, that's the issue with the Arabs in the Israeli parliament. And one of the reasons that it's harder to form a government in Israel, even though I think relative to a Western democracy, the spectrum of opinions among Israelis is actually smaller. Like most Israelis agree on most things, and they can. The people who can't form coalitions with each other have much smaller disagreements than broader coalitions than coalitions in other Western countries, where like you have broader coalitions, usually less parties as well. Okay, so I'm gonna head off now. Unless Dajjal, does anyone have anything more to say on the group chat?
I'm looking, I'm scanning it.
Okay.
Anybody got anything else to say?
So I saw something from Samantha earlier.
Okay.
So she asked what don't I like about Shimon Peres? So I'll respond to that. And then there's another one. I'm extremely far left, and under no circumstances would I support withdrawing from any land for at least the next 10 years. Yeah, so that, and I think that's most Israelis would hold that same opinion. So she asked why I dislike Shimon Peres. Shimon Peres signed the Oslo Accords behind the back of Rabin, and made some decisions, like in terms of giving authority both to Palestinians, and also like he made some rash decisions. He had like a vision, but he was not conservative enough in trying to reach that vision and seeing, well, maybe I might be wrong, maybe it's not going to work. Yeah, I mean that's the broad strokes. Do you see anything else? Oh, Sherry wanted to speak on something. Oh, story of Joseph and his coat. Sure, Sherry, you can, if you're still here, and you can talk about this.
I was just going to quickly say, I'm going to say this very quickly because I want to let you go, but the story of Joseph from Christians is that he was the youngest of 11. His parents gave him a beautiful coat. The older brothers were jealous and left him for dead, basically. And he ended up becoming a I guess like a semi-prophet, a seer, that ended up actually being very powerful in the end, where he was left. So I forget who it was. Y'all probably know better than I do. But yeah, they had left him for dead, and he was able to kind of foresee danger and in his dreams or whatever, and interpret them, and that ended up saving. I think it was the Romans. I'm not really sure. I forget. I apologize for that. But it's interesting to me that people brought up the fact that the coat was a symbol that became something people were jealous of, because that's exactly where his brothers came from, is that they left him for dead because they were jealous because they felt he was favored. So I'm sorry. Thank you. I
Okay.
know you want to go.
No, it's fine. Thank you. And I should have. I didn't ask to scan the chat quick enough, so that's on me. Then Kat also wanted to say something. You see now?
I don't remember what it was about, so never mind. But thank you.
It was about, you said you don't know that it's Netanyahu. I assume the official politician.
No, it wasn't about that.
Okay.
I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy. This is my first time here on a 9 o'clock morning.
Yeah, and I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
Yes, sure. I'm glad to be of assistance. There's one thing that people in the chat wanted me to show. This is going to be difficult. So, okay. So, Kevin, you can watch back other streams. I often show the a table of the parties in Israel and what the distribution, what the potential coalitions are going to be. I have like a go-to sort of representative chart with projected seats that I talk about often. And so if you're interested in that and more like about the parties and all that stuff, feel free to go look at some of my other streams. And with that, everyone, I will be heading out once again really quickly. This is my channel, posting in the chat. It's also in the description. Please join the discussion group where you can be part of discussions like this, and also daily ones that Armin does, and every 3 days Ali has one, and you can ask us questions. Most of them are like
Yeah, one thing.
Ali's one is not
there-
1 second, Yuda. Ali's one is not recorded, so if you want to ask spicy questions, you can do that on Ali's stream. And if you ever want to talk to Armin, that's like the one way to do it. Yes, Yuda, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, but because you're in another radio, you said it's not my office, so this is now your office. Why do I see in your office through the mirror behind you your bed?
No, this is not. Okay. First of all, this is not my bed. This is a couch. And second, this is my in-laws. I mentioned this before. This is my in-laws' house. My actual house is only going to become available on the 1st of September. And so I'll be moving again then, but most of my stuff is
Was
in
just
storage.
kidding.
Yeah, no, it's just to clarify. Yeah, okay. And so this is my channel. Monkey was also here today. Go to his channel as well. Subscribe. He talks about U.S. politics. It's Motor Pool Grease Monkey. Don't have it open at the moment. Okay, there it is. But you don't have to subscribe to him because he has more subscribers than me, and I'm in competition with him. So up to you. I'm sure Rebecca is going to rush to subscribe to him. And yeah, and
Definitely
join the
never.
discussion.
Definitely
What?
never. Definitely never.
But the issue
But
is
I am
you're also a
subscribed to you,
liar.
though.
Okay,
I am
But the issue
subscribed
is-
to you, though.
right. So trying to get on my good graces while still being subscribed to Monkey and just
No,
mine, 'cause that's
No,
what you are.
no. I don't like Monkey.
Okay.
But I like you.
Okay.
You're my favorite
Anyway.
nemesis.
Thank you. You're my favorite and only nemesis as well. And also, for if anyone here is interested in learning modern Hebrew, not biblical Hebrew, then I have a course that I've made. It's in the description as well. You can go look for it. It's way less expensive than other solutions, especially for the amount of quality and effort that was put into it. So if anyone is interested, that's also there in the description. Right. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Probably Wednesday. We'll probably have a stream on Wednesday. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. And I propose a Hebrew course and the transport course.
I will try making a Hebrew course and a transport course as well. Right now, it's strictly Hebrew.
Transport is me. I do the transport.
Okay, so Yuda can do the transbrew course. Okay, so contact me and we'll work on the transbrew course together. All right, bye everyone.
See you, bud.
Bye.